Right now, 7 nations are pouring $1 trillion into a machine that could end energy poverty forever. This isn't science fiction. It's happening in southern France, and the stakes have never been higher. But the truth behind this will shock you. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why this project is already 10 years late, how it creates temperatures hotter than the sun's core, and the hidden reason why billionaires are quietly betting everything on fusion energy. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Deep in the French countryside sits ITER. It stands for International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. Think of it as humanity's attempt to capture the sun's power on Earth. The project began in 2006. 35 countries joined forces. The goal? Create unlimited clean energy by fusing atoms together, just like our sun does every single second. Here's what makes this wild. The machine weighs as much as 3 Eiffel Towers. It's taller than a 6-story building. And the tokamak chamber at its heart will reach 150 million degrees Celsius. That's 10 times hotter than the sun's core. The original budget was $6 billion. Today? It's past $28 billion and climbing. The timeline keeps shifting. First it was 2016. Then 2025. Now experts say 2035 at the earliest. Why does this matter to you? Because whoever cracks fusion first controls the future of energy. And that means controlling trillions in wealth. Now here's where things get really interesting. The race to fusion isn't just about clean energy. It's about pure power. 1 kilogram of fusion fuel produces the same energy as 10 million kilograms of fossil fuel. Let that sink in. You could power a city for a year with fuel that fits in your backpack. China just announced they'll have their own fusion reactor ready by 2030. 5 years before ITER. The United States launched Commonwealth Fusion Systems with over $2 billion in funding. Private companies like TAE Technologies and Helion Energy claim they'll beat everyone. Jeff Bezos invested. Bill Gates invested. Sam Altman put in hundreds of millions. Here's why billionaires are obsessed. The global energy market is worth $8 trillion annually. Whoever owns fusion technology owns that market. No oil. No gas. No coal. Just water and lithium. The fuel exists everywhere. You can extract it from seawater. A single bathtub of water contains enough fusion fuel to match the energy of 2 million bathtubs of gasoline. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. Making fusion work is insanely difficult. You need to create a star on Earth. Scientists must heat hydrogen atoms to 150 million degrees. At those temperatures, everything melts. Steel vaporizes instantly. So how do you contain it? The answer is magnetism. ITER uses massive electromagnets weighing over 10,000 tons. These magnets create a magnetic cage. The superheated plasma floats inside without touching any walls. The magnets must be cooled to minus 269 degrees Celsius. That's colder than outer space. So inside one machine, you have the hottest and coldest temperatures ever created by humans. Just centimeters apart. Here's the problem nobody talks about. Fusion requires perfect precision. The plasma must stay stable for at least 400 seconds. Current record? About 6 minutes in a Chinese reactor. But even one tiny vibration can destroy the reaction. The plasma becomes unstable. Everything shuts down. Scientists have tried for 70 years. They've spent hundreds of billions. They still haven't produced more energy than they put in. Until December 2022. The National Ignition Facility in California did it. They achieved fusion ignition. For the first time ever, fusion produced more energy than it consumed. The breakthrough made headlines worldwide. But here's what they didn't tell you. The experiment lasted less than 1/billionth of a second. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. ITER isn't designed to produce electricity. Let me repeat that. This $28 billion machine will never power a single home. It's an experiment. The goal is simply to prove fusion can work at large scale. To sustain plasma for 400 seconds. To produce 10 times more energy than it consumes. That's it. If ITER succeeds, we still need to build an actual power plant. That's called DEMO. It won't start construction until the 2040s. It won't produce electricity until 2050 at the earliest. We're talking about a technology that's always 30 years away. It's been that way since the 1950s. Meanwhile, the delays keep mounting. A single part for ITER can take 5 years to manufacture. Everything must be perfect. One faulty weld means starting over. The massive tokamak vessel requires components from factories in Korea, Russia, Europe, and America. Coordinating 35 countries is a nightmare. When Russia invaded Ukraine, shipments stopped. Politics became engineering problems. And here's the real kicker. Even if fusion works perfectly, We face a hidden challenge. The reactor produces massive amounts of neutron radiation. These neutrons slam into the reactor walls. Over time, the walls become radioactive. They degrade. They need replacement every few years. Each replacement costs billions. Nobody's figured out materials that can survive decades of neutron bombardment. So what does all this mean for us today? The fusion race reveals something bigger. It shows how desperate humanity is for clean energy. We're willing to bet trillions on technology that might not work for decades. Because climate change won't wait. Global energy demand doubles every 20 years. Solar and wind can't meet that demand alone. Batteries remain expensive. Nuclear fission creates waste that lasts thousands of years. Fusion promises the ultimate solution. No carbon emissions. No radioactive waste lasting millennia. Fuel from seawater. But promising isn't delivering. Right now, renewable energy costs keep dropping. Solar became the cheapest electricity in history. Wind power grows cheaper every year. Battery technology improves constantly. By 2050, when fusion might arrive, we might not need it. Yet the investment continues. China just allocated $15 billion for fusion research. Europe committed $6 billion more. The United States plans to triple its fusion budget. Private companies raised over $6 billion in the past 3 years. They're convinced fusion will change everything. Here's what you need to understand. This isn't just about physics. It's about geopolitics. Whoever masters fusion first gains energy independence. They control their future. They don't need Middle East oil. They don't rely on Russian gas. They don't depend on anyone. For governments, that's worth any price. For billionaires, it's the investment opportunity of the century. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. Small fusion companies might actually win this race. Not massive government projects like ITER or private startups move faster. They take bigger risks. They innovate quickly. Commonwealth Fusion Systems claims their reactor will be operational by 2030. Helion Energy signed a deal to provide Microsoft with fusion electricity by 2028. That's next year. Are they overconfident? Maybe. But they've attracted the smartest minds on Earth. And here's the twist. Some experts now believe the first fusion plant won't be in France, China, or America. It could be in oil-rich nations. The UAE invested billions in fusion research. Saudi Arabia is exploring partnerships. Why? Because they know oil won't last forever. They're hedging their bets. Building the next energy empire before the current one collapses. The $1 trillion race isn't really about fusion. It's about survival. About nations and billionaires positioning themselves for a world where energy equals power. And that world is coming faster than anyone expected. If this opened your eyes, you need to hear what comes next. Let's recap the biggest revelations. ITER costs $28 billion and won't produce electricity. Fusion creates temperatures 10 times hotter than the sun using magnetism to contain plasma. The first fusion ignition happened in 2022 but lasted 1/1000th of a second. And private companies might beat massive government projects to commercial fusion. The implications are staggering. If you found this valuable, smash that subscribe button. This channel breaks down the biggest projects reshaping our world. Drop a like if fusion energy blew your mind. And here's my question for you. Would you invest in fusion technology right now, or wait to see if it actually works? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. Next up, I'm revealing the secret Antarctic base where scientists are drilling into ice that's existed for millions of years. What they found will shake you to your core. That video drops in 3 days. Don't miss it.